Virtual Reality versus Augmented Reality by Abhishek Pun, Sudhir, Bikram, Thulung, and Gloria, Mokopu. Introduction. The topic our team chose is Augmented Reality versus Virtual Reality. As the world is rapidly developing and modernizing, the technologies made by humans has also been developing. Technology such as augmented and virtual reality developed by humans has been developed at an astonishing pace of potential where it can completely change the face and view of modern technology. Augmented reality overlays virtual objects on the real-world environment, and virtual reality immerses users in a fully artificial digital environment. Augmented and virtual reality are basically technology that deals with virtual object implementations. Despite augmented reality and virtual reality having huge similarities of having to work with the virtual technology, they both have their own huge differences and uses as well. In this presentation, we will discuss about virtual reality versus augmented reality.
Now let's talk about the background of virtual reality and augmented reality. Virtual reality's concept is built on the combination of two words, virtual and real. It is a technology where software is used with the assistance of hardware components to generate a replica environment of the real world with sounds and sensations. Hardware devices like VR headset, projector, 3D video camera are used to help create VR effects. VR in gaming. VR has become a hot topic in gaming world as VR has dominated and become a game changer. The global market for VR in gaming was valued at almost $12 billion in 2019 and is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 30.2 from 2020 to 2027. It is like a dream come true for gamers. Each one of them have dreamed of going inside their favorite game or looking the view from their favorite characters, and with the VR's potential, it gives you every bit of it. Some of the well-known games are The Climb, Batman Arkham VR, Half-Life Alyx. This is a gameplay video of the game The Climb, where we will see how it looks with the VR effects.
Yep, a little bit of the swapping of the hands. Oh, here we go. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Wait, chalk up. Oh man, look at this. Help. Easy does it. Easy does it. Towards the cable car. I think we're going to have to jump across this gap because these won't let us pass, so... Oh.
Bringing VR in educational field has already helped a lot of students, and it has many potential to grow. In addition to providing students with immersive learning experiences, other benefits of virtual reality in education include the ability to inspire students' creativity and spark their imaginations. The good thing about VR is that students get the chance to improve their skills and knowledge without risking anyone's life, and they can practice the same thing again and again. Now, augmented reality. Augmented reality is a system that fulfills three basic features: a combination of virtual and real world, real-time interaction, and accurate 3D registration of virtual and real world. It is a highly interactive method of presenting virtual scene generated by computer with the real scene. Augmented reality is one of the biggest technology trends right now, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger as AR-ready smartphones and other devices have become more accessible around the world. Now, AR in gaming. AR in the gaming industry uses the existing environment and creates a playing field within it. It allows video game players to experience digital gameplay in real-world environment. The value of augmented reality gaming is expected to reach almost 285 billion by 2023. And this should be no surprise with the given features of AR. Some of the games of AR are Pokemon Go, which we all are familiar with, and Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Augmented reality in automotive industry. One of the biggest impacts of AR on the automobile industry is the complete shift of the buying persona of a customer. The feeling of checking out a vehicle using AR looks very cool and is satisfying as well. Before, customers would have to go to the showroom. In this video, we will see how different companies have started to adopt to AR. Differences between augmented and virtual reality. Augmented reality adds digital elements to a live view, often by using the camera on a smartphone, whereas virtual reality implies a complete immersion experience that shuts out the physical world. Augmented reality is 25% virtual and 75% real. Virtual reality is 75% virtual and only 25% real. In AR, end users are still in touch with the real world while interacting with virtual objects nearer to them, whereas AR user is isolated from the real world and immerses the user in a complete fictional world. AR requires upwards of 100 megabits of bandwidth, whereas VR requires at least 50 megabits of bandwidth. AR helps developers to build games that offer real experience to the user, whereas VR allows developers to experiment with an artificial environment. An example of AR is a snapshot filter which we all have used. And the next example is of VR, where a person is immersed inside a plane, which is an artificial environment created with the effects of VR.
So what is so special about augmented and virtual reality? Virtual reality gives people the experience which can only be thought and imagined, whereas augmented reality gives people the experience to enhance their imagination and thoughts, bringing into reality. Virtual reality brings us into alternate universes, and augmented reality makes your surroundings come alive with data, images, and unique experiences superimposed on the world around you. Virtual reality and augmented reality are both special because these technologies allow users to immerse and experience a fully artificial digital environment with overlays of virtual objects on the real-world environment. The development of augmented reality and virtual reality can help in creating a better and far more advanced world, as it can create an emotional, intellectual, and multi-sensory engagement for the users without the inconvenience of having two bodies to be present in the real world face to face. The pros and cons of virtual reality versus augmented reality. First, I'll be talking about virtual reality. Regarding the pros of virtual reality, we have better training. Virtual reality can stimulate a dangerous environment for training purposes, which is one of its advantages. This means that people like firefighters can practice their skills in a safe environment before having to put out a real fire, or that a pilot can get a lot of practice flying a virtual plane before flying the real thing, among other things. Efficient communication. Rather than having to get in your car every morning and drive to work only to sit through a series of meetings, VR will bring all of the participants together in a virtual environment. Even though the participants are thousands of miles away, virtual reality will make them feel as if they are all in the same room. More convenient. We all go shopping and second guess ourselves, and when it comes to making a purchase, we're constantly concerned about buyer's remorse. When you go furniture shopping and find the dining room table of your dreams, but you're not sure how it will look in the dining room, to make an informed decision, you can use virtual reality to compare the interior of your dining room with the table. Moving on with cons of virtual reality. First up, addiction. Someone who spends a significant amount of time in a virtual environment may become addicted to it. With virtual reality, you can make your own avatars and meet other users online. This is particularly risky with social networking. Also, there are many activities that are illegal in the real world that can be done in the virtual world, and there is always the risk that someone may act out something from the digital world in the real world, and there is no reset button in the reality. Very expensive. Due to the extreme advanced features it employs, using VR is costly. It can thus be used by those who can afford it, which is a small percentage of the population compared to those who cannot. This is particularly unfair in education because not everyone can afford it. Health hazard. The use of virtual reality for an extended period of time can cause dizziness, disorientation, and nausea. In the traditional sense, nausea such as seasickness is caused by the fact that we feel but do not see all of the movements. This is why getting up to the ship's deck and gazing out at the horizon will make you feel better. Virtual reality, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. You can see all of the moves just like in a video game, but you cannot feel them. However, if you spend too much time in virtual reality, you may experience nausea. No human connections. This is when someone prefers virtual reality to real life for social interactions. As a result, some inappropriate attachments may form that are not part of the real life social setting, potentially leading to depression and dissociation depending on the severity.
I'll be doing comparisons between the AR and the VR. It's simply just an illustration, carrying on from where my fellow groupmate has left off. This is basically just a visual presentation.
Not too long ago, even the smartest people, scholars, scientists, and sages, could only go by what they saw with their own eyes. But when the telescope came along, a new world came into focus. Today, there are two game changers that, like the telescope, are transforming the bounds of research, exploration, and imagination. They're called virtual and augmented reality. Now, here's how they're different. With virtual reality, you wear a pair of goggles that covers your entire field of view, immersing you in an imagined or replicated world. Augmented reality uses glasses or a screen to superimpose digital images and information over what you're seeing in the real world. And here's the deal. Over the next decade, VR and AR are primed to be the next big things in computing technology. How big? We're talking potential for $95 billion in hardware and software sales by 2025. And the buyers won't all be die-hard video gamers. For example, 8 million doctors and EMTs worldwide could use virtual and augmented reality for everything from medical procedures to virtual visits to treating patients with anxiety disorders. And 200 million primary and secondary school students in developed countries could use these technologies to take virtual field trips and interact with objects in a 3D environment. At their best, VR and AR will revolutionize computer interaction, making it even more intuitive and collaborative than it is today. This is the pulse of technology you need to see with your own eyes.
As you already seen on the previous video that I just played, it basically summarized what AR and VR actually is. But let me just do the few touch-ups that I've left to make you better clearly understand. So the comparisons between the two, basically I would say it's more like differences and similarities at the same time. So the AR is open and partly immersive, while the VR is closed and fully immersive. Many people actually confuse AR for VR because they're not really far apart from each other according to their similarities and their differences. They're actually as close to each other as possible. So basically the AR puts virtual things into users' real world, augmenting them, whereas the VR puts users inside virtual worlds, immersing them. So that's where the little difference is, but it's basically just a little difference that occurs to even be a similarity. So basically 25% virtual and 75% real is both of them. The virtual and the augmented are both the same like that. So with AR, users continue to be in touch with the real world while interacting with the virtual world. And then whereas with the VR, the user is isolated from the real world while immersed in a world that is basically technological world. So that is where it actually is. A person would make it really simple by saying AR is actually both and VR is closed, meaning it is really entirely isolated and into the technological world. So let me not waste time here and move on to the next slide. So the main similarity between the AR and the VR is the fact that both of them have to deal with virtual objects, meaning that whether you're working on AR or VR, you would either have to create your own game object or import already existing objects into your project, or for most part you may have to do such using a game engine such as Unreal or Utility Engine, or maybe just use build your own objects from scratch, or you could use the existing ones, so you just decide. And then in terms of technology, the AR and the VR realities are almost the same. Like I said before, they're almost similar. So both of them aim to serve the user with a truly enriched and enhanced experience that is completely immersive. Like the other one is partly immersive and then the other one is fully immersive, as we saw previously that the VR is fully enclosed immersive while the AR is partly immersive. So both of these technologies are currently growing and they're trying to enable experiences that are really sought after in the entertainment industry, and these artificial worlds are actually coming every single day, with many games extending support and implementing the VR and AR technologies. And though currently the concentration is on the entertainment and social networking, there are also groups that are coding across the world working to adopt both these technologies into the medical field. Like you already saw in the previous video, they'll be helping people with disorders, people will be having virtual meetings as they already are having them right now. And by 2025, it shows that the technology world will be saturated by AR and VR. Moving on to the last point, it shows that already that these technologies can be used to decrease the pain. That is so new. They can be used to decrease the pain experienced by a patient and to also heal psychological disorders or conditions just like the PTSD, which is known to be the post-traumatic stress disorder. Thank you very much.